What's up, team? Marshall Sparkman here, VA loan specialist, back at you again with another video about the VA loan appraisal process. This is probably one of the most common misconceptions about VA loans when it comes to the real estate community. See, a lot of times real estate agents have a lot of preconceived notions and untrue concepts about what they think about the appraisal process. So I'm going to do my best to educate you guys. Hope you enjoy this video. Please like and subscribe. And so I'm going to dive right in. The appraisal process for the VA loan. So the first thing you need to know is that the VA actually has a process for their appraisals. Unlike conventional or FHA loans, the VA actually has a process. Everything is verified through the VA. They have an entire appraisal department that manages that. The appraisers have oversight. I'm going to get to that in a minute. But so I got a couple quick slides that I wanted to go over with you real quick to help you get a better idea of how the appraisal system works. So there's two main things that the appraiser is doing. One, he's assessing the fair market value of the property, and then two, that it's compliant with all the VA's minimum property requirements. I've got another video in the link below and on my website where I talk about the minimum property requirements, but this video is going to be more about the process. So the appraiser is not really looking for recommended repairs or cosmetic issues or deferred maintenance, wear and tear, and stuff related to the overall condition of the property. He's really just looking to see the value of the property and that it meets all the minimum property requirements. So he may recommend some slight repairs if the property is in disrepair, but really he's only looking for the stuff that can affect the marketability of the house or the house being safe, sound, and sanitary. So this is what the VA appraisal process looks like. So we have to order all the VA appraisals are ordered through the VA portal. So we log in, put in a request, and then the appraisal is sent to the next available appraiser. So here in Middle Tennessee, where we are, there's only a small handful. There's like 5 or 6 appraisers that are certified to do VA appraisals. So these guys may be coming from all over the place to do it. So in Tennessee, the appraiser has 7 days to return the report. So the bids go out, the appraiser has to accept it. And one thing that I need to note about the VA appraisals is they don't have the opportunity to decline the order. So when the orders come in, they try to match them with somebody that's in that geographic area, and then they don't have an opportunity to decline it. So VA appraisers, especially with all the refinances going on right now, they're super busy. Those guys may look at 5 or 6 properties a day. It's crazy. And they, like a regular appraiser, if it's out of his geographic area, let's say he's in Nashville and the property is in Mount Juliet, that appraiser can say, he can decline it and say, no, I don't want to do it. But the VA is not like that. The VA appraiser has to accept that order, and it goes on the round robin based on geographic area. So the next step in the process, the appraiser will typically request access to the property, usually through the listing agent. The appraiser, once he completes it, they've already run the comps before they even go out. When he goes out, he's just looking to take pictures of the property. The VA appraisers are required to take pictures of the attic, crawl space, each room, the big components of the house, like the HVAC unit and that electrical box, that kind of stuff. Has to take pictures of the front of the property, the street view. Then he uploads it to the VA system. Now, here's where VA really sets itself apart. After the appraiser uploads it into the VA system, the VA portal, a staff appraisal reviewer, or a SAR, has to sign off on it. So the SAR is reviewing it to make sure that the appraiser's done his job correctly and all the I's are dotted and T's are crossed, and make sure that everything is right. And they're also looking to make sure that the property meets the minimum property requirements. So the SAR, the staff appraisal reviewer, has another 2 days to return the appraisal to the client, and then they issue what they call a notice of value. The notice of value is what's recorded in the VA system. So then the client and the lender sent a copy. I have realtors on a daily basis ask me, where's the appraisal? What's the status on the appraisal? I don't know until, I'm sent the appraisal the same time as the client sent the appraisal. So a lot of times I don't even know on a VA. We put in the order and the request. I don't even know when they schedule it or when it's due back until usually the listing agent will have to tell us that they've scheduled the appraisal. All right. So one thing that's the VA timeline. So one thing that's very important to understand about the VA appraisers, this is a huge account for them. It would be the equivalent of you as a real estate agent managing an Old South home builder account. It's huge. They get a ton of business and they don't want to screw this up. The VA appraisers are very competent. They have additional CE requirements. They're usually the sharpest and brightest in the industry. Every single one around our area has been doing it 20 or 30 years, so they know what they're doing. These are the VA appraisers. They're the most competent appraisers on in the block. So they also have the additional oversight and the accountability of the VA, of the SAR, the Staff Appraisal Reviewer. So if there's an issue or something comes back and we have to dispute an appraisal, or we call that a reconsideration of value, if we have to request that, we go back to the VA, and then the VA goes back to the VA reviews it, and they say, hey, wait a minute, appraiser, why didn't you document it? And the appraisers do not want that, because they don't want any kind of red mark on their record, because like I said, this is a huge account. For an appraiser to lose the VA account would be devastating to their career and put them out of business. So the other thing about VA appraisers, we desperately need more. So if anybody knows anybody that's an appraiser, I would strongly consider them getting certified to do VAs. They would, it would be a game changer for their career. So the appraisal stays with the property with that buyer for 6 months. So if you're a real estate agent, or if you have your house to sell and someone comes along and does a VA appraisal and then they end up walking from the deal, you're not stuck with that appraisal. A new buyer would have to come in and get a new appraisal, but it does stay with the property for 6 months only for that specific buyer. So for example, if you went to a house that didn't appraise and then you wanted to come back and still buy the house, you're stuck with that appraisal. You're not going to be able to get a new one. VA says that they can shorten the validity period. Typically, the appraisals are valid for 120 days, but if the market's rapidly changing, the VA can come back and shorten the validity period. Say, okay, I know that they're good for 120 days, but really we're only saying they're good for 60 days now. They can do that if the market changes. I've never seen that, but they can do it. There's a process if the property does not appraise. It's called Tidewater. So an appraiser can declare Tidewater if the property does not hit value. So what Tidewater is it's a formal process if they don't think they're going to hit the value on the house, where they go back to the VA, they declare Tidewater, and then they send it to the lender, and we have 2 days to respond. So what I'm doing is usually reaching out to the client, the listing agent, and I'll say, hey, the appraiser declared Tidewater. What do you guys want to do? Are there comps supporting the price, or is it just way overpriced? 9 times out of 10, when I get in a VA appraisal that doesn't come back at value, it's either the sellers were testing the market, and we all knew it going into it that the house is probably going to be a little bit overpriced, but the buyer was okay as long as it appraised. And usually what I'll do is go back to the listing agent and say, hey, we need some comps justifying the value. And 9 times out of 10, the listing agent can't give me any good comps that are valid, that are within 6 to 12 months within a mile or so radius. Unless the property's out in the middle of nowhere, then they have to go out a little bit further. So the appraiser and the lenders, we have to follow guidelines set for those appraisals. So also, if the appraiser does call for repairs, we can hold back escrow to allow those repairs to be completed. So that's the main stuff that you need to know about the VA appraisal. Hopefully you found this video super educational. There's a lot to understand about these appraisals, and I like to think I know a lot more than the average bear about it, but obviously don't know everything. But I'm here for you guys. Would love to be able to earn your business. If you know anybody any veterans or anybody in general looking to buy a house, I'm licensed in all 50 states and would love to be of service. Thanks.